Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about how can you implement para at work. Now, that is one of the main thing that you have to do. It's because you spend a lot of the time at work and you want to know how do you implement this kind of a framework which is so useful and which is so easy to use. So today I'll go down into giving an example of doing that at work. One of the first thing that you have to look at is well, let's go by the different buckets that we have. You have the four buckets to remind yourself. Is one is projects, areas, resources, and archive. The first bucket is projects. So as the name suggests, at work you might have projects or the features or stories. For example, if you're a software developer working in an agile environment, you will always have features or stories associated with you. So then that becomes a project. So that's a very easy one. But if you're a lead or a technology lead or some uh, handling multiple projects, then obviously you can have multiple projects under that project section, and that makes the life easier. So what are the information that comes in? It just goes into the project, and then you can manage that. The second aspect is areas. Now, what are the areas? So one of the areas that you could look at is like continuous improvement. So you might be interested in maybe improving your communication. So that would be one of the areas. The areas are such that that cannot be done immediately. It will take a period of time where you have to work on it continuously. So one of the examples would be improving your communication, as I mentioned. The other one is you might want to be a better at project management, or the third one could be you want to deep dive in a technical topic. For example, you want to learn more about Kafka and understand very deep into it. So that could be one of the areas. And now keep in mind, now if you thought about doing that deep dive in Kafka, one of the examples that you can take is you've done a deep dive, and now at one point of time you would think, you know what, you want to share it with the team. Then that becomes a project. So then that particular piece of information moves from areas into the project. The third is the resources. So resources are some of the interests that are outside your primary domain of work. So, for example, if you're a software developer, you might be interested in data science or machine learning. So you can kind of do that in this particular aspect. Similarly, you might be a software tester and you may want to learn about more about software coding. So you can kind of use that all the resources that you look up or you receive, in terms of coding. You kind of put that in this resources section. The last is the archives. Now, although it's the is the last, it's one of the most important. It's kind of the oxygen for your whole framework, because whenever your project gets done, you get a lot of motivation about completing something, and then that goes into the archives done. So the more projects you see going into the done section or the archive section, you'll feel more fulfilled and more happier about it. And one of the other aspect is like if you start adding in learnings as part of that movement into from project into archives, then that you will have a lot of more valuable information. So what you would have captured is along with the project moving to done, you have to capture the learning, and then also what are the successes of the stories, success of the project that you had. So what that means is you have all the positive, because you have the positive vibe when you're doing this, you do it in the right frame of mind, and that way you have all the information that's available at any point of time. And then the other aspect is that at the end of the year, especially if you're working in corporate, you have these performance cycles, and we all dread about it. And one of the things with this system does is that you have all the information that you have, and if you've added learnings and successes, you have all those things already jotted down for you. So when it comes to the appraisal cycle, you create a project on appraisal cycle, and then just pull all this information from your archive section, and then there you go. Let's go on ahead. Now, this was a simple scenario for doing implementing this para framework. Now, there are scenarios where you're at work, it's pretty stressed out, and you have like multiple things coming in. There are multiple, you're handling, juggling multiple projects, and then there are a lot of requirements are keeping dynamic and they're changing almost every day, and you really don't have much time to implement this kind of a big system, and you might feel that's you don't have so much time to do this. And one of the ways to use this system in this kind of a scenario is creating a waiting area within each of the projects. You kind of create there's a waiting area. So whenever you receive a new information or something has changed, you kind of put that in the waiting area. You don't put that in any of the other section. You just put in the waiting area for that particular project. Or if it's generic, you can keep a generic waiting area where all the generic things sits in. So what that does is it frees you from the uh, it frees you from organizing the things, at runtime. You can just whenever information comes, you just put that in, chuck it in, and then worry about it later. And then when you have some time where you have to kind of do the actual work and you need all this information, you can start cataloging all the raw information, all the thoughts you had into that project section, and then that would help you in implementing that work. So that was one of the key practices that you can do to help make the system work for you. You do not work for the system. The system works for you, and that's it. Thank you. Bye.